Alright, so here we are with video number 4, the first video of going through slides. This video is about the first slide deck for the lesson, the Intro to SAT Verbal slides. I guess a note about these videos on slide decks. I'm going to go through all the slides. I might, I'm not going to read every point on every slide because I don't think I need to do that, but I will emphasize important points from the slides and certainly go over any tricky things on them. Okay, so yeah, this is welcome to SAT class. Hopefully your students are this excited. They won't be. Oh well. So an introduction to the SAT. Frequently asked questions. First, what is the SAT? Probably no one will ask that because they're taking this class. But when is the SAT administered? It is administered 7 times a year in August, October, November, December, March, May, and June. However, students who are taking this class should not take the SAT until December or March after they finish the course. So if they're already enrolled in the October SAT and really bent on taking that, they really shouldn't take this course. They should consider a PTPS one-day workshop, but this class does not fully prepare students until after it's over. So they should really wait till December or March. Then how many times can you take the SAT? Well, technically you can take it as many times as you want, but it's recommended that students don't take it more than 3 times. If a college sees that a student took the SAT 20 times and on the 20th time they did really well, they're going to be like, well, it took you 20 times to get to that point. So it's really recommended that you take it no more than 3 times. And some schools may ask to see all scores, while others may only look at the best, and others still may super score, which is they take your best verbal score and your best math score and put them together and call that your SAT score. So schools do all sorts of things, but no more than 3 times is the general rule. How to register for the SAT. I think this slide is self-explanatory. What's in red is important. The deadline to register for the December SAT, which a lot of students in this class will probably want to take because we'll be done by December, is November 3rd, 2018. So students have to be on top of that. So the test format. Some of you may have taken the old version of the SAT, which was administered, I think, until 2016. That's the version I took, and in the past a lot of our teachers have taken that. At this point, probably most of you took the new SAT, which is the version you're going to be teaching, but in case you took the old version, they revamped the test and some details changed. So the test used to be out of 2,400, now it's out of 1,600. There's 2 800-point sections, math and verbal. Each one's scored between 200 and 800 points. Fun fact, the lowest score you can get on the SAT is 400. If you get 0 things right, you get 400. Hooray. So those are the 2 subparts. Math we don't care about in this class, we care about verbal. And the verbal section has within it 2 subparts. The first one is reading, which is basically analysis of passages, and the second one is writing in language, which is basically grammar. And those are about equal weight, and they combine to form your 800-point score. Then there's also an essay portion, which we cover in this verbal class because it's a verbal topic, but it's scored separately. It's not included in your 800-point score. It's instead scored out of 24. And something to emphasize that's important is that the essay is technically optional. According to the College Board, it's optional. The test is 3 hours, and then you have an optional 50-minute essay, and you can leave if you don't want to take the essay. But you should emphasize to students that they really should take the essay because a lot of schools require the essay, and a lot of students don't know exactly which schools they're going to apply to when they take the SAT. And if you don't take the essay and then you end up applying to a school that requires the essay, you're going to be in trouble. So just take the essay. It's just 50 more minutes. We cover it in this class anyway. Take the essay. Okay. What to know about the SAT. Some fun facts. The questions are not in order of difficulty. So it's not like easy to hard. It's all random. The questions are equally weighted. So the hard questions are worth just as much as the easy ones. And a strategy is to sort of solve the test in passes. So your first pass through the test, if you find a question that's really hard, just skip it. You don't waste 10 minutes. Just skip that question and then keep going through questions. And then on your second pass through the test, you can hit the hard questions. This slide is super important. It's so important that it's in yellow. Like, wow. There's no wrong answer penalty on the SAT, which means you should never leave anything blank, ever. Do not leave a question blank. Like, this should be like twice the size this font is. That's how important it is. Sometimes when I teach SAT classes at like the second diagnostic exam at the end of the semester, I see students leave questions blank and then I cry because it's so sad. Because if you leave it blank, you get it wrong. Like, definitely get it wrong. If you at least write A, B, C, or D, you have a 25% chance of getting it right. And then usually you can use the process of elimination, even if you're not sure of the answer, and get it down to like a 50% chance, which is really good. And if you have no idea, as I said, just write a letter. Please don't leave things blank. Tell students not to leave things blank. Interpreting your score. Question students always have is, what's a good score? There's no such thing as a good score. A good score is whatever you want to get. So here we have some average scores of admitted students at various campuses. Berkeley is above 1,400, and some are above 1,200 and 1,300. And these are just UCs, and there's many, many more schools. And, I would say that, a top tier score on this test, if students are aiming for a score that's going to be an average at most top universities, is probably above 1,400 out of 1,600. But that doesn't mean that above 1,400 is the only good score. You can get into very good schools with a lower score. You can get into UC Berkeley with a much lower score. These are just averages. But above 1,400 is a good benchmark to aim for. So that's a general introduction to the SAT. Now let's go through the verbal portion in a little more detail. First, the writing and language test. That's the section we're going to start with today and in future lessons. This test is 35 minutes, 44 multiple choice questions. Students will read passages and revise them for grade. Whoops, I went the wrong way. Then there's a reading test. As I said before, this is basically passage analysis, analysis of various sort of rather dense reading passages. They draw on literature. They also come from history and social and natural science. And this is like sort of complex reading comprehension. It's not, these passages are often sort of tricky, and we'll cover a lot more about strategies to deal with them when we go through the reading lessons later. And then the essay, as I said before, it's scored separately. It's out of 2,400. There's other stuff here we'll go through at a later time. And then the last part of these intro slides is class format and policies. So first, PTPS. Who are we? We are a non-profit, student-run organization dedicated to providing free standardized test prep services to high school students in local communities. Hooray. Homework assignments. So this is an important slide. We really want to encourage students to do the homework. It's sort of hard to do that because this is a free class and the students don't get graded and they have a lot of work for their other classes. But if students just come to class once a week and see slides and don't practice this material, they're really not going to retain it. So doing the homework, and they're also not going to get feedback because you'll check the homework, and especially for the essays, you might even grade the homework. And so if they don't do the work, they're not going to get feedback, as well as not getting practice. So it's really important for students to do the homework, which is why I've included some slides in this deck just about homework policy. So as this says, students will be given homework. I try to limit the assignments to 30 to 45 minutes a week. I don't want I know these students are in high school and they have a billion things to do, and we shouldn't be, taking more of their time. Improvement comes from practice, as I said, and yeah. Homework policy. Students should bring their homework to class every week. Again, tell students this. Even though they're not getting a grade and we're not going to drop them from the class if they don't do their homework, tell them that they should bring the homework, and also tell them if they can't attend the class to email you their homework to encourage them to do it. And then here you can see something in bold red font, just as on the syllabus, something you need to update. If you don't update this, then you'll get, present this in your class and it'll say update this, and you'll feel bad, so update it. But I guess someone said during decal they were scared of not updating it. So if you forget, it's okay. You won't be that sad, but you should still update it. What do I want to say? There's two choices here for homework policy. I mean, if you think of something else, you could also put that, but I think there's really two main approaches. The first one is that you will collect your students' work and return graded copies the following week. The benefit is you collect it, you get to see how students are doing, they get feedback. The downside is it takes a lot of your time. The other option that I assume most of you will probably do is that you will check the homework every week but not collect it, and in certain weeks you may collect and grade it. For example, when students write essays, it's really helpful if you actually read those. When they answer multiple choice grammar questions, they can correct those on their own. But you should, I want to say must, technically it's up to you, but you highly, highly, highly encouraged to check the homework every week. What I've noticed in teaching these SAT classes is if I don't check the homework, students stop doing it. But and it's especially important in the first couple weeks. If you establish a precedent that you will check the homework every week and write down who doesn't do it, students will just do it. It'll become a habit. They know in the back of their minds that it's not worth points and they're not getting a grade, but because you're checking it and showing that it's important, more students will do it. More students will get practice, and getting practice means internalizing the material and eventually getting a higher score. Classroom policies. Oh look, it's our friend the bold red text, which means you have to update this. So you should, these are some policies that you might keep or might not. The only one that you should keep is the second bullet or third bullet here. If you have 4 unexcused tardies or 3 unexcused absences, we will drop you from the class. Again, we don't actually drop students from the class, but tell them so that they don't miss class. And another point here is that it's unexcused. So students, if they're like in a if they're on a sports team, oftentimes they'll have to miss a lot of classes. And as long as they get it excused by the teacher, that's fine. It's just unexcused absences that we care about. Then you should fill this in with your particular dates of your session. This is just copied from the syllabus. And finally, blue books. This is a reiteration of what's already on the note and on the syllabus. Students are required to buy the College Board's official SAT study guide, 2016 or 2018. They can't purchase it, they should talk to you. And down here, this is red not because you have to update it, but because it's very important for students. They need to bring the book to class every week. If they don't bring it to class, they can't participate in the classwork activities and exercises and quizzes as easily, so they need to bring it. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all. So those are the intro slides.